that will save this country. That is my take on it.
Thank you.
These people, okay, we are all complaining now. We say old men, young men. Now, this thing has gone to bring article. Basically, produce the same old people. So what are we looking for? What are we looking for now? The country is thinking every day by the day. It's just prayers we need, my dear. That's my take on it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, our time is almost gone. So I want to quickly say that there is no leader we are going to have now, right? That's going to automatically, even if it's the Peter Obi, that will automatically change Nigeria in 4 years, right? But why I'm even a bit geared towards him is because everybody can agree with me that we have a wasteful government. If it's just to even cut down that waste and begin to block this corruption hole, because I don't understand why a layman like me will be able to achieve one thing, something I can achieve with, hypothetically speaking, 100 million naira. This government will need 1 billion to achieve it. And it will still not be standard. It will still not be of quality, to still be mediocrity. So there is a problem. And even if it's just to cut down the cost of governance.
Which is what we know he can do. You know me, I think the problem with Peter Obi,
we'll see how it
that
goes.
I feel that people, the problem they will have with him, they say he's a stingy man. But we need that stinginess.
We need it now.
You understand?
If you want money, go and work for your money.
This was somebody that his official cars, everything. He made it localized.
I don't want it to sound like we're
I'm not campaigning for him, but I'm just trying to say that.
Let me just take this comment.
Let's put our money where our mouth is.
Good evening, my dear beautiful sisters of What Are You Saying Wiz. The question of what kind of leaders do we want? There is not too much talk about it. The kind of leaders that we want are the ones that will give us what we want and lead us the way we want. Any regime or government that does what they like and does not do what we like or want is no government. The government that we want is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. That is a good government and true democracy, without a shadow of doubt. This present government is bad luck and a total nightmare. They are only there for themselves and not for us. That is a selfish and greedy government. The earlier we get rid of them, the better, before they destroy us. We need a leader that has the welfare of the people in mind and nothing more. I rest my case for now. My name is Daniel Ilo, who is regular.
Wow, the phone lines are still buzzing. Daniel. But let me take our comment from Ade from the UK. He says, good evening, ladies. Uwa, you are too emotional in deciding the leaders Nigeria needed. He said, I mentioned it in the past on this show that J.J. Rawlings' principles should be applied and put them on minimum wage. Collect all embezzled money. Oh God. And that's from Ade from the UK. Ade Biko. See, I'm not being emotional. I'm saying that the amount of corruption that has happened.
You cannot be a Nigerian leader. You know, I said yesterday, you have to be good and bad. You have to wear the two
That's what I'm saying to you.
So you are, you know, for
So I can't qualify. So I don't believe that you must really kill people for it. You know, what I believe
you are going to make me look like the devil. No! Yes, you will not kill people, but you have to have guts.
You have to have guts. But you see, that guts is so many things. And it doesn't have to be...
I hope you know that when a person, in fact, this is on a global level now, as a president of a country, there are decisions you take that whether you like it or not, lives will go. So being on that seat is not even a joke. Let's close the show there.
I think we can close it there on that note. I won't say a word anymore. Thank you, Elsie.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone. We see the phone lines are still ringing. Mona no vex. It's just 1 hour. Thank you so much. Now, before we go, ensure you follow us on Instagram at Wayshow Africa, on Twitter at Wayshow Africa 1. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, follow all our engagements on social media. You can like, share, invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. The phone line is buzzing. All right. So if you missed today's quote, I love this quote so much, and I wish every leader would understand this principle. It makes your job easy. He said leaders don't create followers, right? They create more leaders. We need more leaders, and this was by Tom Peters. We'll see you guys live tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
Allow me to choose my successor just as I allowed you to choose yours. It seems to be the message from Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari to the governors of the All Progressives Congress. We look at this meeting he had with the governors of the ruling party yesterday. And the prelate of Methodist Church Nigeria has revealed details of his abduction and release from kidnappers' den. We analyze these and the overall security situation in the country. And we look at the headlines on the pages of today's national newspapers in Off the Press. Very good morning to you and welcome to the program. My name is Kofi Pachels. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning, reaching live from our studios on Victoria Island, Lagos. Interesting conversations as you heard in that intro, but let's start off with a look at what's been trending in Nigeria and around the world over the past 24 hours. We start with the enforcement of a commercial motorcycle ban, popularly called okada ban, which is to begin today across local government areas, selected local government areas in Lagos State. Of course, the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, had made that announcement in the wake of the killing and lynching of a young man at Lekki Phase 1, the sound engineer, David Imo, who was killed at Lekki Phase 1. This is in response to the public outcry and the public backlash following the killing of that man by suspected Okada riders. Indeed, there's been an investigation launched into this. We've not seen the results of that investigation to the fullest. It's still ongoing, and the governor did announce this Okada ban. Today is June 1, and the day has come for the official commencement of the ban. However, they had gone against out to target and to rid the streets of these Okada riders in some parts of Lagos State. Indeed, hundreds of motorcycles have been picked up, hundreds of motorcycles have been apprehended in some parts of Lagos, despite the fact that ban was not already on. So we have the following local government areas in view: at Ikeja, a local government area. We have Etiosa, Lagos Island, Surulere, Papa, and Lagos mainland local governments where this is supposed to commence. This ban is supposed to commence today, June 1, 2020. Indeed, the Lagos State government had put out a message on its social media platforms with graphic designs and e-flyers giving the public the necessary information. Let's go back to the Lekki Phase 1 and listen to the residents of that area give their views on this ban.
In Lagos, commercial motorcycles, popularly called Okada, is an important means of transportation for residents. The reason is not far-fetched. The heavy and frustrating gridlock experience on most routes across the states. Over time, there have been complaints by commuters about the reckless attitudes of some riders, which has resulted in accidents leading to deaths and lifetime injuries. Some of these riders has been accused of aiding and abetting crimes due to their quick and easy movement, while some other disobey traffic lights. The Lagos State government in the past years has ruled out laws banning the ride in some areas of the state. In 2006, under the Bola Tinubu government, Okada riders were banned from operating between 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. every day. In 2012, the Lagos State government under the Babatunde Fashola administration placed a total ban on Okada riders on the Ikeja axis of the state. Same thing in 2017 under the Akinwumi Ambode administration. The state government announced ban on Okada activities on major highways, bridges and roads. And under the Babajide Sanwo-Olu's administration in 2020, the government banned Okada from plying 40 bridges and flyovers across the state. The ban seems not to have been able to get commercial bikers off restricted areas. Recently, a young man and father of two was killed and set ablaze by an Okada rider over a disagreement. These made citizens take to social media to call for the total ban of Okada riders in the state. Residents of Lekki Phase 1, where the incident occurred, staged a protest against Okada riding in the area.
Based on record, the immense gratitude of Lera to the indefinable governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, for throwing his full weight and that of the entire state towards protecting of lives and property of residents in Lagos State by imposing the ban on Okada in its local government of the state. The government has called for the ban for the 1st of June 2022. But we, the residents of Lekki Phase 1, cannot risk the lives of all residents and have the Okadas running free in our neighborhood.
In a recent order, the Lagos State renewed its ban on Okada business, which will take effect from the 1st of June.
All of the highways will be effective from the 1st of June. This is the first banning that we're going to be embarking on, so that others know that in a short while, either to get out or for something else to do. And from 1st of June, there are LCDs that are underneath them. We're going to publish them. We're going to list all of them. And so we're given the notice now.
Days to the effective date of the ban, commercial motorcyclists are having a field day in Ajah area of the state.
They can still allow them on their streets, but on the main road, they should ban them. They should just go.
I don't want Okada to be banned because they have helped the laws, actually. You know, in a situation whereby you want to go to a place and you need to be fast, you just enter a bike and go to the place rather than enter motorway because you have to wait till the thing full before you can move.
I don't think it should be banned because I actually use them for work in the morning when I go to work, and also in the evening when I go from work I use them. So if there's no bike, so what do I use as transport means?
That's the fastest means of transportation for the citizens, because once there is traffic and you have to get to work before 8, you have to try all possible means to meet up with the time, so they don't have to ban bike.
I will advise the government, let them try and bring people who are educated, like from secondary, and employ them. They will be sensible. But when you bring Jagobon, Yoruba illiterate, Hausa illiterate, Igbo illiterate, they don't know anything. But when they are educated, they will be sensible to be doing rubbish.
About the express, I can stay with government. But the road that remain without no expressway, they can still apply. At least it has time then give them to be closing. They can still apply other way apart from the express.
The riders appeal to the government to rethink the ban.
All of us will see here now, I don't want thief. Because this work where they see so, now they make to survive ourselves. First thing, because you come and say they don't want back again, they affect all of, even a passenger where they enter back, then they affect them. Because of everybody where they see now, they get their own family to feed. Government no provide another alternative for us. Gather day for this work where they see so. They don't see work they don't see work for this country. But the thing where government is to say about the issue, say may provide another alternative for us before they ban us.
What they want us to do now, if they want to ban the Okada. I have family. I have 2 kids and wife. Making 3. I'm feeding them with this work that I'm doing. Okay, well, okay, if they say they will ban the Okada now, which work they want to provide for us?
Okada. Now I tell they feed my family now. Somebody like me now, I have like 4 pikin, 2 girls, 2 boys. Now wait till I tell they pay them school fees. I don't get under work again. When push me now, which work I do again? I don't get work. I don't serve thief. I don't serve do anything. Only Okada now they do now.
We see they apologize or we they beg the state government. Oh. I beg make them forgive us. Oh. Because we like this, some people they don't have any other thing doing in Lagos. And the Okada they pay them. Some people have family and they sponsor their family with bike. So we don't have anything. I beg. That's our only reason with us. So.
Okada ban in Lagos State has lingered for years without effect. The coming days will expose the effectiveness or otherwise of the government's ban order on okada businesses from restricted areas. Ngazika or HHC plus TV News.
So it remains to be seen how this ban will be enforced from today being June 1. Some residents of Lagos State have expressed some apprehension about the reaction of some Okada riders around the city, some threatening to withdraw their votes from the government of the day in Lagos State, some appealing to the government to rescind the decision, and some members of the northern community in Lagos saying they support the government in this drive. Indeed, we got news of one particular construction company known as High Tech asking its staff to remain at home for the day in order to protect them if eventually there'd be any unrest in the city. But hopefully that will not happen. We don't want to see any violence. What we want is peace, and hopefully Lagosians will be able to go about their business today without any harassment or any danger or any protest. Hopefully that happens. Let's move on to some more trending stories. Now, this one happens to do with a slogan surrounding the NSAS protest of 2020. The scar of the protest is still, or the scar of what ended the protest is still fresh in the minds of a lot of people in the country. Don't forget that this was a youth-driven protest, and as a matter of fact, one of the slogans, especially for those who were protesting in the southwestern part of the country, was Soro Soke, which is a Yoruba which are Yoruba words. Soro Soke is one of the words or slogans that were used during the protest, or that was used during the protest, and it's been popular not just in the southwestern part of the country, but indeed around Nigeria, synonymous with the NSAS protest. But this slogan, it seems, is not just popular in Nigeria, because a book was released by someone outside the country, a UK author, Trish Lawrence, and Trish Lawrence released a book titled Soro Soke, The Young Disruptors rather, of an African megacity. Of course, Lagos is described as a megacity. Well, about 5,000 people have signed a petition seeking the recall of that book. What happened was that Trish Lawrence gave an interview about the book where she claimed that she created or coined the name Soro Soke generation. So she made those claims, and this, of course, has drawn the anger of a lot of people in the country. Now, the background to this is that she wrote this book, and this book won her the 2021 Nine Dots Prize. This is a prize that lauds creative thinking and that tackles contemporary societal issues. It lauds creative thinking that tackles contemporary societal issues. All right. And the phrase, Soro Soke, is a Yoruba phrase which means speak out or speak up. All right. So, now, in her book, Lawrence, who is based in the German capital, Berlin, examined the bravery of youth who left the movement or led the movement, and featured the views of some Nigerians who took part in the demonstration. Now, she gave an interview where she said that she was the one who coined the name or gave the protesters the name Soro Soke generation. As of Tuesday, about 5,000 people, mostly Nigerians, have started signing the petition seeking the recall of the book from the publication. All right, and some are also saying that she should apologize to Nigerians and that the interview that she granted be taken down. Now, what do people think of this? Personally, I think that if she writes a book on a subject matter that is, public matter that anyone can write about, there is nothing wrong. Nobody owns the phrase, so it's okay. Anyone can write about it, whether you're a Nigerian or not. If you're interviewing people, if you're discussing a concept or an event that occurred in the country, it's an event. It's something that happened. Anyone can write about it. That is what happens all over the world. However, the claim that she made that, she coined the phrase Soro Soke generation, or gave the protesters the name Soro Soke generation, which they know not to be true, is what should be, to me, the bone of contention. And of course, rightly, the petitioners have said that, have demanded that a public apology be written to Nigerians and that the interview be taken down. All right, I'd really love to sit down with this lady to find out why or how she came to be the originator of the phrase Soro Soke that she's claiming, Soro Soke generation. It's interesting. The petitioners are also saying that how can she name and claim what was already existing, that she has no connection with the struggle, yet she capitalizes on it, benefits and profits off the trauma of Nigerians, to claim. They say that this is evidenced by her winnings from the 9 Dots prize, which amounts to about a remuneration of about 100,000 US dollars. All right. For me, anyone can write on any subject matter, as long as it's not a copyrighted or patented, or trademarked subject. If it's not a copyrighted subject, anyone can write about it. This is a protest that happened. It's in the public domain. The networks and international media have written about it. Someone says, I want to write a book on what happened in Nigeria. They're free to do that. But I think where the contention should be is in the claim she made that she originated the name Soro Soke generation, which needs to be looked into. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to another very not too palatable one, very sad one. And of course, we've been counting the days since the Abuja Kaduna ill-fated train attack and the kidnap of the survivors of that attack who have been in captivity for more than 60 days now. A video was released. I think this should be the second video by the abductors. This shows the abductees, and some of them made some statements. One of the abductees made a very heartfelt appeal, but the point was made that her son is a sickle cell, she is a sickle cell patient and needs urgent attention. A number of the abductees in the video said that they had been sick and they were still sick and needed to be released. And this is really worrying. For 67 days, today 68 days and counting, these Nigerians are still in captivity. In fact, not all of them are Nigerians, some are foreigners and still in captivity. What is going on? Let's roll the tape on the video released by the terrorists, and when we come back, we'll do some more talking before we call it a wrap on the trending segment. Stay with us.
My name is Mariama Abubakar Bobo. I was one of those captured on that train with 4 of my children and my husband. We're appealing to the federal government and our families and everyone that can to please come to our aid. We've been here for 62 days in an unfavorable, inhabitable condition, unimaginable. We've been sick. In fact, one of my sons, 2 of them are even sick at the moment with no medical supply. So we're pleading with you to please come to our aid.
Abdullahi, one of the captives of the Abuja Kaduna train attacks. We are appealing to the federal government to once again come to our aid. We've been here for 62 days. Most of us here are sick and we are not in good condition. And every day the situation gets deteriorating. We are appealing to the federal government to please come to our aid before we start losing our lives.
Really, really heart-wrenching video to watch, to see that these people are still in captivity and the very inhumane circumstances under which they're being kept. One hopes that the message has been passed to the federal government and that the government will do what they can to release these abducted people. It's really sad. One can only imagine the horrendous conditions that they are being kept under. One of the things I noticed from this video is that unlike the previous one that was released, the abductors put a curtain at the back of the video to cover the background. Because I noticed from the first video, that the terrain was shown. And if you remember, you could see the background, even a little mountain at the back. And some people on social media were able to do some geographical analysis of that video. People who are qualified professionals and who can use technology, they were able to do some geographical analysis and came up with a map showing exactly where the abductors were when the video was recorded. And they said, see, look at the mountain behind you. They gave the name of the mountain. And look at the terrain. There's another geographical landmark that if you look at the map, all right, you look at the map, the satellite image, you'd see that geographical landmark is also near that mountain. And it was a match. And they said, I mean, we don't need to do this, but we're doing this on Twitter because we want to call the government out that this is something they can do very easily. I mean, that they did it on their laptops, wherever they were tweeting from. You know, this is something the government can do easily. And this is where these people were when they recorded this video. All right. So it means that they are in the vicinity. And they talked about the fact that it's not far from the Cameroons. So why is it difficult, or was it difficult for the first video to at least give an indication to the security authorities of where these people were? If people could do it on Twitter. Now, you can see that from this second video, the abductors have covered the background. They put a curtain there. Probably someone, you know, connected to them must have seen the conversation on Twitter and said, guys, see you, next time we record a video, cover the background so that they won't see where we are, you know. And this says a lot. This says that these terrorists are on social media, or they have collaborators on social media monitoring what everyone is saying. Now, as a matter of fact, the gunman in this video, the terrorist in this video, for the first time spoke in English, all right? This is the first time they would be speaking in English. In previous videos, he had spoken in Hausa. Let's roll another tape and listen to some more. We'll come back and we'll do some analysis before we call it a day on this.
We are the people that captured those people in the train along Abuja and Kaduna road. So they are appealing to us, saying that they wanted to talk to.
My name is Gladys Ni Amore. I'm appealing particularly to Professor Yemi Oshibanjo, who was my classmate, 78, 79 law school. You are a grandfather, you are a father. Come to our aid, because we've been here for 62 days. I have a son who is a sickler, and I don't know his condition. I'm pleading that the federal government and Amechi, who is the minister for transportation, should come to our assistance.
Really sad one. Miriam Abubakar, who says that, two of her sons were seriously sick, and that they need to be released as soon as possible. And of course, another passenger whose name is Gladys, who said that her condition has been unfavorable. She just heard Gladys speaking there, saying that she was pleading with the Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibanjo, who was her classmate in 78, 79 law school. She says, your grandfather and father come to our aid because we have been here for 62 days and I have a son who is a sickler. I do not know his condition. Now she wants to get home to him so that she can attend to him. A really sad one indeed. There's nothing more to add. They've made the plea. And we can see that the video was not released immediately on the day it was recorded. It took some days before they released it. These guys are smart. These guys are social media savvy. All right, these guys mean business and they know what they're doing. I'll be surprised if they're watching to us right now. And we see this repeated in the Northwest as we've seen it happen in the Northeast. We see it repeated in the Southwest or the Southeast as well. For instance, you had gunmen attacking an office of the Anambra Broadcasting Service a couple of days ago. Why would they attack a media establishment? It shows that these attackers, these gunmen, be it in the northern part of the country or south, are calculated. They plan, they strategize, and the attacks are not just itinerant attacks. No, these attacks are meditated, premeditated. These attacks are calculated, these attacks are meticulously planned. If they go cut someone's head, they didn't just cut the person's head. They have reasons. If they attack a media establishment, they have reasons. If they go attack a local government council headquarters of a serving governor in Anambra State, they have reasons. They know what they are doing. But the question is, does the Nigerian government know what it is doing? We pray for the best. We pray that these abductees are safely returned home to their families. That's been a trending segment right here on The Breakfast. We'll be right back after this break. We have Opunaboy Inkotaria standing by for the press.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408 or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on Plus TV Africa as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
Hello and welcome to Space and Style, a property show designed to connect various stakeholders across the property value chain. We can also provide realistic solutions and deepen your knowledge about the interesting world of real estate. We shall showcase architectural design, interior design trends, lifestyle and real-time property news updates, and the right way to navigate through property development and investment. Join me every week on this channel as I take you through an exciting journey in the world of real estate.
Space and Style, 6:30 p.m. on Saturdays and 5:30 p.m. on Wednesdays.
Welcome back. Time to dive into the pages of the national dailies. Look at the headlines from the front page. And of course, we have public affairs analyst Opunaboy Inkotaria joining us this morning. Ms. Inkotaria, thanks for your time.
Yes, thank you, Kofi. Good morning.
All right.
Good morning, Nigeria.
Okay, ma'am. Let's begin with the headlines from the front page of the Nation this morning. Buhari seeks APC governor's support to pick successor. That meeting he had with them yesterday. The writer says, we want a candidate that can win. Governors' meetings on president's proposal deadlocked. Okay, they had some meetings on the president's proposal. Look at that as we go on. Monkeypox, federal government bans sale of consumption of bushmeat. Members gave my abductors 100 million naira ransom, says Methodist prelate. Now, this coming after the Abia State government released a statement claiming that the police or security agencies in Abia State had moved swiftly to rescue the man. He's saying nada, that didn't happen. Oyetola condemns police shooting of the Nation reporter. Really sad one. A trade attack. Terrorist demands taken to government. We have more from the paper. Buhari and his unfolding succession plans, an analysis piece by the Nation newspaper. And National Working Committee members accuse party chair Adamu of taking on unilateral decisions. Oshibajo, Lawan, Fayemi Okorocha, others screened. EFCC, ICPC operatives to track vote buying in Ekiti poll. And Lagos Okada ban takes off. All right, let's move on to the Punch newspaper. It has the big one there. Presidency, search for strong consensus candidate. Buhari directs APC governors. Search for strong consensus candidate. Buhari directs APC governors. Says a chosen one must be nationally acceptable, possess electoral value. President didn't disclose his favorite, Nasarawa governor, and Akeredolu backs consensus. APC governors in strategic meeting as Oyegun Grills, Oshibajo, Lawan, Bello, others. Imo ex-governor Okorocha gets bail, leaves EFCC custody. FG sends 640 soldiers on peacekeeping duties amid insecurity. We're helpless, abducted train passengers' families lament. And password stealing malware attacks rise by 146.65% in Nigeria. This according to a report. Means we all have to be extra careful. Couple, 3 children die. Lagos police suspect generator fumes. And 2,334 domestic violence cases in 4 months. Worrisome. It's coming from the Lagos State government. Lagos factory worker loses hand in industrial accident. Firm blames victim. And Agric-Vasti's workers yet to receive wage arrears. It's coming from the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities. At the top of that front page, Lagos International Airport runway lights collapse. Pilots warn fan. Lagos International Airport runway lights collapse. Pilots warn fan. Page 21 has the details. Really a puzzling one there. Buhari embarks on 8th foreign trip in 5 months. Okada ban begins today. Lagos deploys more boats. Kidnappers showed us decomposing bodies. Church paid 100 million naira ransom. Methodist prelate. And those are the headlines on the front page of the Punch. Let's quickly turn our attention to the Daily Independent that has the following headlines. Presidential primary, APC governors settle for northern candidate. Focus on Ahmad Sani Yarima, Ahmad Lawan. Fear no southern candidate may beat Atiku. At the top of that front page, abducted Methodist prelate admits payment of 100 million naira before release. Telcos face declining investment over infrastructure vandalism theft. Crisis in APC as NWC members square up against party chairman. Security operatives paid a raid IPOB ESN camp, kill 3 in Ebonyi. PDP resumes governorship primary to accommodate Bauchi governor. Presents certificate of return to Atiku today. NUJ urges redeployment of CP over shooting of journalists to others. It's talking about the Nation reporter. Buhari unfolds credentials of APC presidential candidate. Appeals to governors that all interests must converge for victory. Leaves for Spain amid preparations for party's convention. And Aundaka, Gemade, others want Benue APC Guba primary cancelled. Alleged 2.9 billion naira fraud. Court grants Okorocha 500 million naira bail. Of course, the man was able to sneak in at the last hour for that APC presidential screening. And finally, headlines on the front page of the Leadership this morning. In final push for consensus, PMB says, I will choose my successor. I will choose my successor. This goes against what the other paper said, saying that the party was told, or the governors were told, to choose a successor along with the president, and he never gave them a name. The writers to that headline asks progressive governors to support the anointed one. Party crisis deepens. Vice Chairman Kekeme Lukman move against Adamu, accused him of rendering NWC members redundant, taking decisions unilaterally. Oshibajo, Lawan, Bello, Faimi, Ayade, Onu, Jackrich, Okorcha, 2 others screened. Bauchi PDP goes for fresh governorship primary as candidate steps down. The bank's credit to private sector hits 37.17 trillion naira in 4 months. And Hunter Scale Boko Haram commander, deputy in Borno State. I think the other headlines have been covered by the other newspapers. So we'll leave it at that and now turn our attention to analysis. Courtesy, I guess, Opunabo and Kotaria. Opunabo, let's start with the fallout of the president's meeting with APC governors and the chairman of the party. We'll be looking at that later today. So a very quick and short analysis from you.
The line broke. The line broke.
Oh, okay. I'm saying let's take a quick look at the president's meeting with the governors of the All Progressives Congress and the chairman of the party. A very brief one from you.
Well, the truth is, the meeting, as far as I'm concerned, was only to inform them of his resolve to choose his own candidate. The man has made up his mind. Don't forget, in an interview with one of your sister stations, he has said his preferred candidate is close to his chest, and if he discloses the identity of that candidate, he might be assassinated. And the president has just told the governors, what he said to them, I don't think it's even an appeal. I think it's more or less an instruction, just like what the River State governor did when he chose his successor, when he said, if they don't like his choice, then they should challenge it. And what the governors are doing is exactly what the president is doing. He has just told them, I'm going to choose my successor, just like he did with the national chairman of the party, Adamu. So it wasn't more or less an information. It wasn't a question of confabulation. It's a matter of information. This is what I want, and this is what it's going to be. It's as simple as that. That was what happened. A lot of them might disagree, but also to protect their own political interests, they'll be silent, especially for the governors that have the second term to do. The ones without the second term, well, probably might protest, but the protest will be placid. Why did I say placid? What else would they do? Because of some political interest, their own political interest, the political interest of their godfathers, I don't really see a protracted protest. At the end of the day, a lot of them will just submit. They will have to capitulate to become the president's choice, and that is exactly what will happen.
All right. Let's move on from that. Of course, as I said, we'll have analysis of that later on the show. The crisis in the APC National Working Committee is another one that the papers have dedicated some space to, or purported crisis, with the Daily Independent saying that the members of the party are squaring up against the party chairman. That's on the front page of the Daily Independent. If you look at other papers, for instance, the Nation newspaper, it says that NWC members accuse the party chair, Adamu, of taking unilateral decisions. We've seen in the past that some of these internal crises have been overblown and really didn't lead to any breakdown or any implosion in the party. If you remember what happened between Mai Malabuni and his deputy, the one who wanted to take over the party, I think it was a Niger State governor. The party has moved on and nothing really went wrong. Nothing happened. There was no implosion. So is this something that goes along that line of being overblown, or you think there's more to this and really this could lead to some serious problems in the party?
Well, the Adamu has not been accused of being a dictator. Some describe him as
a strong character, strong will, it's a matter of semantics. But for the Vice Chairman Kekeme to have come out openly, probably it's an issue that they were able to resolve within the party. And approaching the crunch time, he just felt we should let the world know, what is going on in the party. The chairman of the party ought to be superintending over the affairs of the party, the NWC and so on. But decisions are made collectively. The NWC is supposed to be the body, the organ in that party that is supposed to make decisions for the party. And it's a collective thing, not a one-man show. But sadly, they've accused Adamu of running a one-man show, unilaterally taking decisions and all whatnot. So if you talk of an implosion in the party, there is already an implosion in the party. We might not have seen the explosion, we might see it later, we might never see it. But there are so many ways of expressing your vigor, your disapproval, especially in politics. Some might just decide to play anti-party, surreptitiously without you knowing that they're going to play anti-party. Because when every spirit revolts at tyranny, and when a man is pushed to the wall, he bounces back to the double level. So a lot of people might, in order to prove a point that you Adamu, you don't have the clout you think you have, you don't have the clout the president thinks you have, therefore we are going to ensure that this candidate that you have foisted on the party or your policies antithetical to the party's guidelines and laws and what have you, we are going to ensure that the party crashes. It has a rippling effect, a domino effect. So it all depends on how the president is going to manage it and address this issue. If it's not an explosion, of course, there's already a fissure on the political wall of AP. But will the president be able to cement it? Will he be able to fill that gap? That is the issue. He has to be tactful in so doing. We are talking of human beings that have minds of their own. They are not talking to kids, they are not talking to babies. And let the Nigerians know that normally when the president or the government is the twilight of the administration, especially when it's going to be his last tenure, there cannot, because the constitution says just 2 terms, you can't go beyond 2 terms. And most times when they are trying to round up their second term, you find out that the influence of the president or the governor is whittled down. At that point, a lot of people believe that what is there, if I have to suffer, I will just suffer for maximum 1 year, and that's the end of it. And that is when a lot of people start challenging the status quo. And that is what might play out. Because like Tinubu has said, when he was asked during the screening if he's going to accede to consensus candidate, and he said no, that he will refuse. He's going to receive consensus candidate. How is he going to resist it? The party doesn't get place. He's going to defect to another political party. And whether we like it or not, yes, whether he's going to win the primaries or not, whether he's going to win the general elections or not, Tinubu is a force to be reckoned with. Not just in APC, in Nigerian politics. So when you hear a man like Tinubu telling you that he's not going to accept consensus candidates, then you should know that it's a prescription for anarchy if the party is not tactful in addressing most of this.
All right. The man, Orji Kalu, was arraigned before court, and he was granted bail to the tune of 500 million naira with surety in like sum. Surety has to have landed property in Abuja of not less than 500 million naira. Yesterday, we're watching to see if he'll be able to perfect his bail conditions before the end of the APC presidential screening exercise at the Transcorp Hilton Abuja. Fortunately for him, Orji Kalu perfected his bail terms and was released and let go, and made it just on time to the APC presidential screening venue. What are your thoughts on that? There was some mild drama when he arrived at the venue.
Well, I must commend the EFCC. Because to start with, a lot of interpretations, slanted interpretations, were woven into the arrest of content. Some duplicated the process, yes, no doubt. But then, if you go to the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, the EFCC acted within its power, because within the powers of the EFCC, Officer jumped bail. He was granted admitted to administrative bail. He jumped bail, which was extremely responsible. Probably he just felt, given his status in the society, he can just do anything and go away with it. So I love what the EFCC did. I must commend the EFCC for that. But a lot of people were just quarreling with the timing because I think it was being architecture to deny him the screening and to a large extent the right to contest. And in order to disprove those critics, the EFCC decided to release the option of bail and fit it to bail again for him to go for the screening. In other words, what they are telling you is that there is no ulterior motive, there is no happening. The man was found guilty, was accused, not found, he was accused, charged to court, granted bail on self-recognizance, and even jumped the bail. Such a man, I'm sorry to say, is irresponsible. What does it take? Who are you? Nobody is above the law. If you are asked to appear in court on a particular day, why won't you appear in court? You see, we cannot continue to tolerate this act of impunity. And so I love what the EFCC did, and I must commend them that they also admitted it to bail for him to go for his screening, in order to prove to the world that, no, we are not acting at the behest of anybody. We are not doing this to deprive him of his right to contest for the presidency. We are only doing this because he jumped bail. And we have to prove that the EFCC is not to be tried for this. And that is what the EFCC did. So I'm very impressed with the EFCC. I commend the chairman of the EFCC.
All right. Let's move over to the Nation newspaper. It gives some attention to the fallout from the PDP presidential primary, where Aminu Tambuwal, governor of Sokoto State, publicly stepped aside in support of Atiku Abubakar, a move that many believe swayed the delegates' votes in favor of Atiku Abubakar, thereby giving victory over Nyesom Wike. Well, a man you know so well, Ijaw leader, Chief Edwin Clark, has come out, scathingly criticizing the PDP chairman, Dr. Yoche Ayu, for calling Aminu Tambuwal a hero of the PDP. And that headline on the front page of the Nation newspaper, Clark demands Ayu's sack over Tambuwal, said that the national chairman of the PDP, Dr. Yoche Ayu, and Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal came under scathing criticism from Ijaw leader Chief Edwin Clark. The elder statesman asked Ayu to step aside from office for describing Tambuwal as a hero of the PDP. Clark berated Ayu and demanded his resignation for what he called, quote, undignified and parochial conduct. Your thoughts, Openaboy Nkutare.
Well, for an umpire to publicly commend Tambuwal and also refer to him as a hero is a little bit suspect. It simply means he's biased. But we're all human beings and we're all politicians. We're all prone to human frailty. So definitely you're going to have your biases, whether you like it, bias in favor or against, if you have a bias. But the truth about it is that you shouldn't have come out publicly as an umpire to have commended or respected. But one thing we should understand that this thing did not just happen. The whole thing was orchestrated. It was architecture to happen that way. And that is the unity we have in the north that we lack in the south. Now, even if Tambuwal had not said that, I don't think Nyesom Wike would have won. Probably the gap would have been reduced. The number would have been not that Wike would have won. Now you are a governor at loggerheads with all your southern brothers. You can see the unity in the north. This should teach us a lesson. You're a governor at loggerheads with all your southern brothers. The Joseph governor is not with you. Okowa is almost neutral. A lot of issues came to play. It's Polycosa. We ordinarily, I must tell you, just like Dr. Peter ordinarily would have won this election. But in the morning, you're loquacious. You're at every point in time, you are attacking one person or the other, not just criticizing them, attacking their persons, their families, their parents, their wives, their children. They saw what happened to Farah Dabogo. Even the issue of donating money to state, 600 million, 500 million, 200 million. Let me tell you, even those governors that are receiving the money will begin to wonder, if this man becomes the president of this country, he's going to fleece our churches, right? Private pensioners are complaining. It's in the news. They're also here. You say, oh, no, they believe that, we are all going on. We will no longer have this immunity. Very soon we'll be stripped. Next year now we'll be stripped of our immunity. If we are stripped of our immunity, this man that is impervious to criticism, but is quick at criticizing others, I don't think he will be able to tolerate us because at that time there is no more immunity. We will be picked up and arrested, detained, and prosecuted at will. These are all the issues that they must have put into consideration in the plot against his success. That is the truth of our local face back. Otherwise, he would have won landslide. Landslide. But a lot of these governors would have said, okay, look at what the appointment state governor said. Look at it. Look at what, now, you're not getting the vote from your southern governors, the delegates. You don't have support from your home base. That's the south-south. And you are accusing the south-south of betrayal. What do you expect them to do? The north is also watching. You know, you go on telling, you say things. In church, you say, thunder, fire you. And people will begin to ask, your cronies, your lieutenants might praise you, they might commend you, they might hail you. But my dear, this is your state. We are talking of national presidency. So they will begin. Is it presidential in nature? Okay, you went to Kasina. You are using the Kasina state. Okay. The governor came to River State to visit the later man of Canada. Because he did not inform you. Oh, God of Israel, you said all kinds of things against him. But you went to Edo State. You did not inform the Edo State governor. You went to Edo State. You went and knelt before the Benin monarch. Knelt before the Benin monarch. The Benin monarchy is not superior to the Calabar monarchy or the Benin monarchy or the Okobo monarchy. You went and knelt before the Benin monarch. But here you sit down and you hold your own things in context. Oh, if you don't walk out of here, if you don't come here and do this. Oh, look at this small boy. Today is a king, but it was a small boy running around. And these things are televised.
You're talking about the Osman Danfodio incident.
That is just the issue. Samuel stepped there. He did that what he did. And it was a master stroke. I commend his brickmanship because that is what we lack in the South. I will tell you something about Kofi. Let me end on this story. I will tell you this, Kofi. If you go out there to say your father is an idiot, you don't expect others to respect your father. It is the respect you give to your father that will make others respect your father. That is the truth about it. Nigerians are watching. And if this government, like, is this the kind of person that will come and rule over us? Oh no, we're in trouble. That is what happened. Otherwise, with your ordinary would have worked. He did a perfect work in terms of campaigning, in terms of trying to win over delegates. He did well, just like Dr. Peter did. Obviously, it was denied participation because they knew that if that allowed the other people would have won landslide because he did his own work very well. But a microscopic few, for one reason or the other, which we don't need to solve there, worked against him. Even at the point of Washington had sympathy. Okay, let him go for vice president. Okay, Minister for Finance, they said no. For one or two reasons. So you have to be careful when you know that you have such a presidential ambition. You have to be circumspect in whatever you do. There must be some level of financial decorum in all you do. Because the world is watching. It's quite different from being a state government.
All right. Interesting analysis from you, Opunabo Nkocha. Of course, you served as a special advisor to the governor in his first term, and you know quite well the workings of Government House Port Harcourt as much as better than most people. So you know what you're talking about. Let's move back to the Punch newspaper. Mr. President is flying. He's flying high again. The paper says Buhari embarks on its 8th foreign trip in 5 months. This time around, the president is on a 2-day state visit to Madrid, the capital of Spain. Interesting one. This is on invitation by his Spanish counterpart, Pedro Sanchez. Your thoughts on this? I'm sure the immediate reaction of the average Nigerian out there will be again. So, what do you say about this?
They should stop deceiving the world on the invitation. The president will just call his colleague. The colleague will say, "Can I come?" And the colleague will do. If he calls him, will you know?
Are you sure? Opunabo Nkocha, are you sure? Are you sure about that?
And the colleague will say, "Okay, come." Then his media aide will go on air to say on the invitation of the president of state. I don't forget all of it. The man is just frolicking. What has come out of all these jobs? The man is just enjoying his last minute. Oh, I'll soon be out of bed. Let me enjoy the paraphernalia of office, the perks of office. That's what he's always out of the country. So why should this even be news? He's always out of the country. He will come again and leave again. The next one now, the Queen will invite him. The American president will invite him. I don't hope he doesn't go there to sleep. You saw what happened the last. The Queen will invite him. The American president will invite him. Very soon, the Togolese president will invite him. The Ghanaian president will invite him. He's always, if they don't, he will make a phone call to say, invite me, so that I can tell my people that I've been invited. He wants to leave. I don't know if he has issues with Soro, or if he has this pension for flying. I can't really comprehend it. Because I'm not even seeing the gains of most of these trips. What impact has this on the economy, on security?
But Opunaboy Kutaya, I mean, Opunaboy, you're claiming, Opunaboy, you're claiming the president is the one who requests for these.
I can hardly hear you. I can hardly hear you.
Oh my! Can you hear me now? Okay. Yes, you're claiming the president is the one who requests for these trips, but it's quite clear that. I mean, can he make the Spanish president invite him? I mean, this is going across or beyond the diplomatic red line if you want to tell the president of another country what to do. And I think that is against normal diplomatic practice. Some would argue that if a president can't tell the president of another country what to do.
No, Kofi, there is nothing. I don't know if you can hear me now. Let me quickly. There is really nothing. There is nothing wrong in calling another president to say, can I visit your country? You could go there for political reasons, for economic reasons, and so on. There is nothing wrong. The point I'm making, we are looking at the reasonableness in most of these things. What is the impact? That it has nothing to do with, it's not against any diplomatic norm. It's not. I mean, if I can decide as a president to say, I want to visit Ghana, I call the Ghanaian president, please, can I call? And he might tell me, oh, yes, we have these economic issues to discuss. We have these issues, political issues, security issues. There is nothing wrong. What I am saying is this. What is the impact of these trips? What are the impacts? That is the point. Every time, this is the most traveled president in the history of this country. And one of the most traveled in the history of the world. So what are the impacts, the effects?
I mean, when presidents of Gubernatorial,
and gets back, there is an impact on the economy, impact on the security of the nation, on the safety of on the continuous existence of the nation. What is the impact? That is what we're talking about. This is 7 years now. What are the impacts? And most times, these trips are not necessary because there are things you could discuss over the phone. That's the point we are making. And you save the country billions of naira. Do you know what it takes for a president to fly out? You save the country billions. This is the country's daily need of financial resources. That is the point we are making. That is the point we are making.
All right, Opunabo Nkitaria, you know, in times past when presidents embark on these trips, they say they're going to look for foreign investors. But anyway, you've made the point that it's too much coming from this president. He's expected back in the country on Friday, days before the APC presidential primary, which holds on June 6th to June 8th. But if you remember, one of his...
Kofi, I bet you when he comes back, another 1 week or 10 days, he'll be out of the country.
But you know, one of the last times he traveled, it was when he was meant to meet with the APC governors to discuss the issue of the party's convention and, you know, the successor to Mai Malabuni. And just before there was this internal confusion, you know, John Akpano-Addo again saying, so since Mai Malabuni was not around, he was meant to be there. And the Niger State governor coming out to say, no, he has a letter, the man is no more, he's the new chairman and all that confusion. The governors were to meet with the president and he left the country and didn't meet with them. I don't know if this trip also is his style of saying, I don't want anyone to come and see me regarding the APC primary. I'll come back just before the primary so that no one will be inaccessible. Remember, Buni had to travel from Dubai to, I think, Paris, where the president, or London, where the president was, to see him regarding the internal crisis in the APC over its leadership. So do you think maybe the president is trying to be inaccessible for now till the primary is around the corner?
No, I don't think so. I disagree. Mr. President, Mr. President is a maverick. He's made up his mind on an issue, he's made up his mind on an issue. He cannot be swayed. The man knows who is going to succeed him. That's the truth about it. And he's going to beat it down the neck. In fact, I must commend him for not shooting his thoughts. You know, a lot of people will tell you, I will never impose the candidate on you, and at the end of the day, they impose the candidate on you, and even dare you to challenge them. But this is the president that said, please, if the governors can do that, allow me to choose my successor. If you don't like it, you revoke. If your protest succeeds, okay, fine. If it doesn't succeed, you're fine. But the matter that he came out to say that, I must commend him. Maybe his military background helps him. But I must commend, I'm not the one that will come out and say, I don't want to impose the candidate. Meanwhile, they are doing that sort of thing, asking delegates to vote for a particular candidate and all kinds of shenanigans. But the man has said, allow me to choose. So I must commend him for being very honest with Nigerians.
Interesting one indeed, Opunabo Nkutari. Well, the Punch newspaper gave a rundown of the countries the president has visited. He says that with this trip to Spain, to Madrid, where he also meet the Spanish monarchy, the president would have visited 8 countries in the past 5 months. That is quite a record. They say he had in May visited...
Thank God you admitted that it's quite a record.
In May, the paper says he visited the United Arab Emirates, where he paid a condolence visit to the country over the loss of its immediate past leader. So the past leader, president, died, and he went there to say sorry to them. Also...
He went there to say sorry.
Yes.
Forgive my brother.
No, but condolence,
That president extend condolence messages. He went there to say sorry.
you know the relationship between Nigeria and Dubai, and the UAE. We have a lot of people go. Well, in that same May, the president went to Equatorial Guinea, where he attended the extraordinary summit of the African Union, and he also went to Ivory Coast from there, where he attended the 15th session of the Conference of Parties of the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. Buhari also visited Brussels, Belgium in February, where he joined other world leaders for the 6th European-African Union Summit in Nairobi, Kenya in March. He was there for the 50th anniversary of the UN Environmental Programme in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, in February for the 35th ordinary session of the Assembly of African Union Heads of State and Government, and in London, UK, in March for a 2-week medical trip. But some of these trips are really important international commitments that he must fulfill. EU, UN, AU, UNEP.
Including the condolence visit.
Well, that's just one.
Including the condolence visit.
All right. Anyway, open up what we have.
But there is this what is that thing called the mining explosion in South Africa, Kofi?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they describe it. You know that those South Africans, plant mines and so on.
Yes.
So I just hope that they will soon go to South Africa to also commiserate with the president of South Africa on that as well.
It's okay. Open up.
I'm very surprised that when Muhammad Ali died, that was Buhari. I mean, that was a good otherwise. When Muhammad Ali died, he would have gone to America to also.
Well, so you want to turn a president.
I mean, it's also international policy.
You want to turn a president into a condolence messenger. We refuse that. Thank you very much for your time, and hope to see you sometime soon on the program.
All right, okay. All right. Thank you. Good morning.
That's it, enough for press. We'll be right back with more. We delve into our first major conversation in a matter of minutes. Please stay with us.
do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them.
If you no talk, then go beat you.
Now 2,500 they pay.
Life can be fun and rewarding, but it also comes with some risk. As in business, you win some, you lose some. And that's why you need to be wise in the choices you make. It's like placing a bet. Again, you need to be wise. Wise in choosing an innovative platform with the highest market options and highest odds ever. That's why Winners Golden Bet, the leader in online, in-shop, virtual, and live sports betting, gives you enhanced platforms that offer you the best chances of winning. For betting on live soccer matches, live dog races, and virtual games. Winners Golden Bet is your best bet. Instant payment on winnings guaranteed. Play online or in any of our numerous shops nearest to you.
Hey guys, be wise. Play on Winners Golden Bet.
Winners Golden Bet, the wise choice.
So what are the top decisions that the United States considers necessary that Nigeria must take? I like to think of my interactions as conversations, not interviews. And that's why I say asking questions is both an art and a science. Everyone says in Islam you are allowed to have 4 wives. Is it mandatory? The right question enables answers that educate, inform, clarify, and help you, the viewer, to better understand the issue before making up your mind.
Our goal is to reduce from 10 to 2 days the time it takes to register businesses in Nigeria.
Join me every week on this station, Plus TV Africa, and gain exclusive access to my conversations. I'm Angela Ajetumobi.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on Plus TV Africa.
In raising our kids, parents should stop playing God.
The internet is actually using the people.
But when you are looking for money to help other people, then it becomes easy.
Don't rush into marriage. I always say this. You rush in, you rush out.
Family is the bedrock of every society and the essence of life.
On Today with John and Helen, we dig deep into family values in every sense of the word.
Join us every Saturday at 9:15 a.m. on Plus TV Africa, DSTV channel 408.
With you, we play a part in strengthening the values passed from generation to generation.
Welcome back. The President, Muhammadu Buhari, met with the governors of the All Progressives Congress On Tuesday, ahead of the party's convention, the president's special advisor on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, made the outcome of the meeting known in a statement titled, "We must show positive qualities of APC at our convention." President Buhari charges governors. Now, during the meeting held at the State House in Abuja, Buhari told the governors that decisions that would enable the party retain power at the center should be taken. The meeting came amid speculations that the party, the president, may anoint an aspirant before the convention. Well, Buhari told the governors in a 12-point statement that parties, quote, "parties globally have always relied on their internal cohesion and a strong leadership brand to achieve bigger electoral fortunes." He said, quote, "In pursuit of the foregoing objectives, the party has successfully established internal policies that promote continuity and smooth succession plans, even at the state and local government levels." Now, he went on to say, quote, "For example, the first-term governors who have served credibly have been encouraged to stand for re-election. Similarly, second-term governors have been accorded the privilege of promoting successors that are capable of driving their visions as well as the ideals of the party." The president continued, quote, "As we approach the convention, I appeal to all of you to allow our interests converge, our focus to remain on the changing dynamics of our environment, the expectations of our citizens, and the global community." It's quite an interesting development, but what are the implications of this for the forthcoming APC presidential primary? We have joining us on the breakfast this morning to discuss this, Nick Agule, who is a public affairs analyst. Nick Agule, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, and good morning to our viewers.
Any surprises that the president had this meeting with the governors of the APC, and from what we hear, is about to, announce and possibly foist his choice, his anointed successor on the party?
Well, it doesn't surprise me that the president had the meeting with the governors under the platform of the APC, because that is the right thing for him to do. As the president of the country, he is the most senior government official in the APC. So he is the rallying point of the APC. And so for him to call the governors together so that they can strategize and have a game plan to win the 2023 elections is in order. So I'm not surprised about that. But whether this meeting is the one at which the president expressed his views in terms of pointing out who he wants his successor to be, is what is not in the public domain. From the statement from the presidential spokesman, that is not clear. It could have happened within closed doors, but all we can do as members of the public is to have our fingers crossed to see what the next 7 days will hold for the FPP.
All right. There are claims from the reports that we have that the president has said to the governors of the APC that the party has an internal mechanism or policy or a culture of allowing the governors who have completed their terms, the 2 terms, select their successors. And that this even goes down from his statement to the local government level. Is that what you found, by your observation, to be the case as far as the APC governors in Nigeria are concerned?
Yes, as they say, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. So if the president expresses the opinion that governors who are serving out their terms should be given the hand to anoint their successors, it could also be what he's thinking at the federal level. But I would say that's not democracy. The president has to give room for democracy to play. Because when he says that the party members should come together to be cohesive, this anointing of candidates is what actually breaks that cohesion. You see, when people are aspirant at either the governorship or presidential levels or any level of election for that matter, and they see the process run in a very democratic, fair, free, and transparent way, they are more to accepting the results than rejecting it or contesting it. But when a governor anoints a successor or a president anoints a successor, and the vast majority of the party members, including the aspirants, are not happy with the choice of successor, it becomes a problem for the party. So I would say that if the president is actually interested in achieving internal cohesion within the APC, and for the APC to field candidates that will engender a sense of victory in the people, in the Nigerian electorate, as the president is saying, this anointing of successor is a risk, and the president has to manage that very well.
All right. As regards whether the president made this statement in this last meeting or in the previous meeting, we have a copy of the text of that, the meeting with the Progressive Governors Forum, and it's a 12-paragraph a statement the president made, or 12-paragraph speech he gave. On the 5th paragraph, he said that as I begin my final year, or the final year of my second term as president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and leader of the party, I recognize the compelling need for me to provide stronger leadership to the party under this transition process and to ensure that it happens in an orderly manner. He says in paragraph 6, such leadership is required so that the party remains strong and united. It is also needed to improve our electoral fortunes by ensuring that it retains power at the center, hold a great majority of in various legislative chambers, and also gains additional numbers in state levels. So he goes on to talk about the culture of the party. He says in paragraph 9, as we approach the convention, I appeal to all of you to allow our interests converge, our focus to remain on the changing dynamics of our environment, the expectations of our citizens and the global community, yada, yada, yada. And he talks about, the consultation of the party and all that. So it seems that from this particular statement, he is talking about allowing our interests converge, allowing, me as the president provide strong leadership for the party to enable us be at the top and at the center as far as governance in Nigeria is concerned. So, this may, some will say, is unambiguous from the president that he's saying, allow me choose my successor.
Yes, from the body language of the president, it looks creating enabling platform for him to have a in a successor. And then we have, even in the contest of the APC national, there were all over the people. Until the president was faced at the president to stand behind Abdullah Yadamo, eventually emerged. So if the effect happened in the party to play out, the president is to be able to detect. But the couple things that number one, it is important to note that the president himself has Nigeria, the 1 year.
Mr. Jula, can you hear me, please? We seem to be having a difficulty hearing you. If you're using your earpiece to talk to us, or maybe a Bluetooth device, please do well to detach it, because it seems to be affecting the quality of your audio. Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear. I'm not connected, right?
Okay. All right. We'll have to call you back in a matter of just seconds. So please stand by your phone so we can place that call to you, and we'll be continuing the conversation once we do that. All right. Whilst we're trying to reestablish contact with our guest, let's just go over the president's speech one more time before he comes back. But we also would like to inform you the governors, after meeting with the president, had their own meeting as well. One of the governors told the reporters who were waiting to hear from them and that the members of the Progressive Governors Forum could not agree on how to implement the president's request. This is what he was quoted as saying, quote, "We believe the president has not settled for any particular person." Of course, he didn't give them a name. And that is why some governors felt the best thing to do was to nominate two of us, one each from the North and South, to the president for consideration. They want to nominate two of them, two governors, one each from the North and one from the South, to the president for consideration. This is according to a source who was part of that meeting. The source said many Northern governors, however, argue that no Southern governor could defeat Atiku Abubakar, who is a PDP presidential candidate in the presidential election. So the North should be given the preference. Here we go again. Now, according to the source, this is quoted by Premium Times. I need to state that clearly. The source that they are citing said that this stance of the Northern Progressive governors, or the Northern APC governors, angered their Southern counterparts. They were angry and furious with that. Now, it says that some of the Southern governors also argued that nominees that do not have to be state governors, the ones that they should pitch to the president. This position is believed to have been pushed by governors loyal to some Southern presidential candidates, such as Vice President Yemi Osinbajo and former Lagos State Governor Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, since the governors could not agree, they resolved to end the meeting and reconvene at 8 p.m., which they did. Do we have Nick Agule back on the line?
Yes, I am here.
All right, so Nick, I'm sure you heard that report from Premium Times regarding the first meeting the governors had after meeting the president, and this idea of pitching one governor from the North and one governor from the South and suggesting those names to the president. And then the Northern governors say, no, there is no candidate from the South who can match the power and the pedigree of Atiku Abubakar. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, the gamemanship for the 2023 election is playing out. I believe the APC played a waiting game on the PDP to see where the PDP will pitch their presidential candidate. And it has emerged that they pitched it in the North through Atiku Abubakar. Now, the APC can go either of two ways. The first way is to match the PDP by picking a Northern presidential candidate, or the APC can decide to pick a candidate from the South, hoping that they will be able to get Southern votes and then be able to split some of the Northern votes. So these games are going to be fully played out in the next 1 week when we know where the APC has gone. But if the APC, let us look at the scenario of the APC picking a Northern candidate. If you look at the APC presidential aspirant field now, I think the strongest Northern candidate is the Senate president. So let us say the APC decides to go with the Senate president. Of course, what is going to happen is that both the Senate president and Atiku Abubakar will split the Northern votes. It will then become who is able to take the majority of the Southern vote that is going to carry the vote. That's one scenario. Let us also look at the scenario the APC now pick a presidential candidate
Let's say they go with Osibajo or Bola or Ahmed or any of those. What will happen is Atiku Abubakar the majority of, but that alone give him the presidency, because that is exactly what Buhari was for 3 elections. He was speaking on the consistently with, but he was not, because you can't win with President Buhari was able to get it. That is what made him. So if I think that people have to win a substantial in the South, if it doesn't, probably we're looking for election where one of the days would have declared. This is what is put out in the the president.
All right, Nick, we're still having problems with that connection, but let's see if we can push a few more questions through. Are you saying that the APC cannot defeat the PDP if they don't select or elect a northern presidential candidate? So if they go for, say, someone from the south like Rotimi Amechi or Bola Tinubu or Yemi Osinbajo, that they cannot defeat the PDP? Is that what you're saying, Nick?
So what there are 8 months to when the ballots will be. Anything can happen. Even the candidates, some of them can stay within this period. But at the APC, if a southern candidate will win the election. How is that possible? It is possible if southern votes are united. And when the president comes in, we need to have no political staff, Southwest, to come together and what East Africa said. That will then match block votes that people to get to the north. Then it will depend if he is able to make another state that will determine a bit. So the strategy that the APC can win it, can win the election. It's on how they out their strategy.
Some of the school of thought, and we had an analyst on a newspaper review segment, who also, told that line that incumbent executives who are in their final term usually would have a lesser influence and lesser power, ability to dictate who becomes the successor, simply because they are about to leave, and those who go to be part of that process do not necessarily need to be loyal to them because their time is up. Do you share that view?
Sorry.
Yes. Yeah. Can you hear me, Nick Agule?
I can hear you.
All right. There is a school of thought that incumbent executives who are in their last term would have a lesser influence and lesser power, and then those who are around them, those who are part of the process to elect their successor, can decide to disobey them, go against them, to not be loyal, and to go whichever way they want to go, simply because this incumbent executive, in this case the president, is in their last term and will be leaving office after that.
Very possible. Very possible. If the people believe that incumbent is supposed to do something, and only a matter of going to win any class, they can disobey. You can go against and have a mind on. That is why James Man, it's very difficult to. You never can tell. And all we can is to make the penetration. But the real game play in 7 days because we know where the APC will reach their strength in presidential.
All right.
We're going to that. Of course.
All right. Nick Agule, I want to thank you very much for your time. You reached us all the way from Abuja. I appreciate your time and your expert analysis.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We sincerely apologize for the poor quality of that audio connection, and of course, we'll make sure that we work on that. When we return, we look at what happened in Abia State. The Methodist Church of Nigeria and the prelate of that church have revealed that the sum of 100 million naira was paid to the abductors of the prelate, his chaplain, and the Methodist Bishop of Owerri before they were released. Now, this is contrary to what the Abia State Governor, Okezie Ikpeazu, had revealed in a statement he released before the press conference of the prelate. Look at that, some of the claims made by the prelate and implications for the overall security situation in the country. Please stay with us.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshuke.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. By no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
Welcome back. You're still watching The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa, and of course, we have a guest joining us to analyze the next issue right here on the program. And this has to do with the release of the prelate of the Methodist Church in Nigeria, His Eminence, Dr. Samuel Kalu Uche. Well, the prelate of the Methodist Church in Nigeria, who was abducted by hoodlums in Abia State, has said that 100 million naira was paid by the church to secure his freedom. The cleric, who spoke during the press briefing in Lagos on Tuesday, said the kidnappers showed him decomposing bodies of some past victims of kidnap. Kalu Uche, who was abducted on Sunday along the Enugu-Port Harcourt Expressway in the Umunneochi local government area of Abia State Axis, said he was taken together with his chaplain, Very Reverend Abidemi Shitu, and the Bishop of Owerri, Right Reverend Dennis Mark. Now, earlier, the Abia State Governor Okezie Ikpeazu had released a statement attributing the safe release of the kidnapped prelate of Methodist Church Nigeria to, quote, the grace of God, the fervent prayers of the Christian community, and what he called the well-coordinated response from the security agencies in Abia State. Let's welcome at this point our guest, Mohammed Abdullahi, who is a public affairs analyst, as we analyze some of the things that were said by His Eminence, His Eminence Dr. Samuel Kalu Uche, the prelate of Methodist Church Nigeria. Mohammed Abdullahi, good morning to you. Thanks for your time.
Good morning, Nigerians. Thanks for having me.
All right. There's a lot to unpack from what the prelate of the Methodist Church said. But let's start from what the Abia State government said in a statement released that was signed by the Chief Press Secretary to Governor Okezie Ikpeazu. The governor is saying that he's attributing the release of this clergyman to the grace of God. That's number one. Number two, the fervent prayers of the Christian community. Number three, he talked about well-coordinated response of the security agencies in Abia State. Now, fast forward some moments later, the clergyman holds a press conference and says, hey, we paid 100 million naira before we're released. We raised 130 million naira, but paid 100 million naira in 5 sacks of 20 million naira each. And this money was counted cash by the abductors before we're released, even at gunpoint. What do you say to this?
I think the government is only trying to save its face, but we all know, I'm sure an average citizen in this country understand that we are just waiting for catastrophe or negativity to happen, because we really do not have our security apparatus are not really up to the task. We must say this as it is. So, like you mentioned, what the government of Abia State did, like usually, even the federal government would do, and all other ties of government, what they usually do is just to put out a propaganda statement, for people to see or to seem as if they are working. But it's even so late now, because Nigerians are wiser. Nigerians understand how these things are played out. Nigerians understand that even when government refused to mention that ransom is paid, we know heavily that ransom has been paid. And to confirm that, the abductee himself came out to narrate his ordeal in the hands of these deadly evil people. So it's really unfortunate that government is abdicating its duties of securing lives, most importantly, and then properties, which is another important thing, of its citizens. It's very, very unfortunate. Whether you stay indoors, you travel within Nigeria, you are at risk. So it's so unfortunate that we find ourselves in this kind of precarious situation. I must say that the major cause of this insecurity is the fact that we have refused as a people and as a government to plan ahead. We have been very visionless as a government and as a people. Let me give you a small example. I just arrived in Nigeria yesterday afternoon, from Kigali, a very small country. You know, the topography of Rwanda and Kigali as a whole is very hilly. You understand? It's hills everywhere, and you wonder how this would get to develop such topography. But what am I trying to say? Because they understand that if you are going down the hill, it's very likely that you lose your brake and so on and so forth. Then if you are also going uphill, it's very likely that you are able not to drive well. So there is speed limit everywhere in Kigali. And the global standard is 100 kilometer, 100 meters per, the speed limit is 100 per kilometer, per 100 kilometer. You understand? What they do is that it's 60 everywhere in Kigali. And how do they enforce this? There is CCTV in every major road. So you don't need to say, no policeman is standing there to police you, to say you must, but they know. Every Kigali, and even as a foreigner, you know, it is imbibed in you, that discipline is there. You can't move beyond 60. You understand? Right. So what am I trying to say? But here, we've seen this right from when we fought the Civil War. I wasn't born, but I heard that. We've seen the issues that we have issues with ethnicity, we have issues with religion, we have issues with tribalism. But for the past 30 or so years, even after the Civil War, we have refused to plan. You understand? And so these hoodlums, these kidnappers, these deadly evil people, I've seen that, yeah, you have a very unserious government, whether present and even the incoming one. We must tell ourselves the truth. Very, very unserious government, very unserious people. So we can continue to do what we want. So how many times have we heard of kidnappings all across Nigeria? People paying huge amounts, and these kidnappers go scot-free.
All right.
It's really unfortunate.
So this is quite, you're saying the governor was just trying to save face. We're aware that Governor Ikpeazu may have was at the PDP presidential primary in Abuja, which held on Sunday. This particular kidnap took place on Sunday, and the man was released next day, being Monday. So I don't know, maybe the governor may not have been on ground to order that the security apparatus be deployed in its full weight, like they normally say, to release this man, who the prelate himself is an indigene of Abia State. And like you said, maybe this was a move to say something, but how do you go say what didn't happen? Your government, you can just place a call and say, police, military, were you involved in this or not? Because the prelate categorically said neither the federal government, nor the state government, nor the police, nor the military were involved in his rescue. So what does this say about our leaders, the governance in Nigeria, that such a blunder, can be committed in trying to just put out a statement, you assume? You wouldn't make that. Even a secondary school student cannot make such a mistake. What does this say about governance in the country?
It is not a mistake, sir. It is not a mistake. It's not a mistake at all. Like I said before, is a well thought out plan, always by government, whether from federal government, state government, local government, to always put out propaganda. We see black and they tell us it's red or blue, as if we are dull people, as if we are not even educated at all to differentiate right from wrong. So it's quite unfortunate. The best word is like I mentioned earlier, the government trying to save its face because it has failed in statutory duty of protecting lives and properties. All right,
Mr. Abdullahi, can you please hold the thought?
Like I mentioned, whether you traveled far north in Nigeria, you travel far east, south, wherever, you are at the risk of being abducted. That is so shocking.
Yeah, Mr. Abdullahi, can you please hold the thought?
Translate to in terms of even the economy.
Yeah, please hold the thought. Let's quickly roll the tape. Listen to a few seconds of what His Eminence had to say. We'll come back to you, and then we round up.
And in order to catch up with my flight, along with my chaplain at 4:30, took off by 2 to go to the airport. Oblivious of the fact that kidnappers were waiting on the road. And as we were descending to Leru in Abia State, these people came out from the bush. They divided themselves into three places. Some people were at the back, some people were at the center, those who shot, who fired at us. And there was another group in front. To make sure that we didn't run away, they fired shots at our vehicle. And eventually, they abducted us, three of us. The communication man of the church was able to escape. The driver was able to escape. They captured me, the Bishop of Owerri, and my chaplain took us into the bush and were torturing us. In fact, it was in the process of that torture that I hit my right eye on a tree. And even when blood was flowing and it was soaking my handkerchief, they didn't feel like anything happened. All they said that we should follow them, that they are not actually against Nigerian citizens, they are against the government. But that government is a bad government. They are Fulani boys, all the 8 are Fulani. They are Fulani boys, and that if any day they see the president, they will chew him. He's their brother, that they have disappointed them and disappointed Nigerians. They will chew him raw. Or any of his representatives, they will chew him raw. But I said, well, even though I'm part of government, but I'm a church man. I'm a man, Christian. I'm not a government official. I said, okay. That is what has saved you. We would have killed you outrightly without asking for any ransom. But now that you're a church man, let's go. Let's go inside the bush. So we moved and moved and moved and trekked up to 15 kilometers. But I knew that it was from my area. I knew that we were rigmaroling and winding and winding. And we said, okay, now we negotiate. Each of us will pay 50 million. And we're going to pay 150 million. They claim that Nigeria belongs to Fulani. They said that is why we are afraid of. I've been talking about this open grazing and this road. So the boys will carry 1 Ghana must go to put in the truck until they took the 100,000. After they have come 100 million, they said, okay, you can go. So that's how we came back. So the people have been saying, even some people, I don't know what they wanted to achieve, that I said. Where did they see me to say that it was IPOP that released me? Where did they see me? Where did I say IPOP? I didn't say that IPOP. So I don't know, they were trying to bring in political and religious toleration. So what I know was that, in fact, when they were talking about kidnapping, I didn't know what it meant. For over 12, 13, 14, 15 hours, no food, nothing to drink, nothing to eat. And I was lying on the ground.
All right, Mohammed Abdullah, I'm sure you heard some of what he said there. He is claiming that his abductors were Nigerians or Fulani extraction. That they said that Nigeria belongs to them, etc., that they're against President Buhari, that if they see him, they will chew him alive. He made a lot of, he said a lot of things and made a lot of revelations. We can't go into all of it because of time. But what do you say to this? Some people have jumped on it to say that, it shows that those who are shooting and killing and maiming and causing carnage in the southeast in the name of unknown gunmen are indeed from the north.
It's you quite reveal a lot. But again, I don't want us to draw a conclusion that all the carnages and evil things that has been happening across our country is from a particular region or a particular tribe, like we ascribe to Fulanis. In fact, there are very bad people everywhere in all of our region, and there are good people as well everywhere. So I think it's even very important that we downplay tribe and ethnicity. What we must as a people do is to confront evil at all of our regions, whether it be in the north, south, or west. We must confront evil and destroy it collectively. By the time we begin to ascribe a particular tribe or a particular region with all the ills that is happening or confronting our country, it doesn't speak well for our future. So I think it's very important that we understand that whether be it south, east, west, as I mentioned earlier, there are good people and there are bad people. All we need to do as Nigerians is to confront the bad eggs around us. And again, we must also tell our government that they must rise up to the equation of saving lives and properties. In fact, it is very, very important that this incoming election is an issue that we put into the front burner for all of the candidates aspiring to be. You can't, as a president, be promising heaven on earth, turning Nigeria into Dubai, where our major issue for now, I think everyone will agree, our major issue for now is the fact that we lack security. I was trying to give you an example before we went for the clip earlier. I told you I'm from Ondo State. My parents are based in the north. We were born in the north. I speak Hausa better than my even Yoruba. But prior to 2018, I used to travel with my family every December from Lagos. I would drive down to Ondo State, say hello for about 2 days to my grandparents, move to Abuja where my parents are, another 2 weeks or so. I'm coming back, I will drive to Kaba, where my mother is from, say hello to my grandparents there. Then before I drive to Lagos, all driving. But I tell you, since 2018, I can't bear. In fact, when I pick the call to call my parents and I'm bringing down my parents via the road, my father will tell me, hey, just sit down, stay where you are. Because everyone is afraid. Everyone is scared. How do you have a country where citizens are scared to move around in their own country? Not even for foreigners. So it's so shocking. So government must rise to its occasion of saving lives and properties. And we as people also must be disciplined. We know some of these people that they live around us. It is unfortunate that you find out now that your cousin, your nephew, whenever they know your movement, they also contact these deadly guys to say, okay, a so person is moving around this corridor by this so time and time. It's so unfortunate. We must be disciplined as people. We must also be sure and help the government in fishing out these bad eggs and devilish people are in our midst.
All right. Mohammed Abdullahi, thank you very much for your time. It remains to be seen if the situation will improve or if President Buhari will go down in history as the general who couldn't secure his country. Thank you very much for your time. And that's the size of our package. Don't forget you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram handles. Simply search for Plus TV Africa. On YouTube, we are at Plus TV Africa. And for a live stream on YouTube, you can find us at Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. From all of us here, the entire team, including those you can't see on the screen, my name is Kofi Bartels. We'll be back tomorrow. Keep watching Plus TV. Up next, we have the news at 9.
Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges. The growing youth population with little engagement, that is a ticking time bomb. We are a blessed people with diverse culture and highly cerebral minds who have a lot to say. And yes, we are talking. It is important we drive the right conversation that informs, inspires, influences thoughts and action. If we say there's beauty in our diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture. We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation as we are the hope for the future. Yesterday's conversations shape today. What are you saying to shape your tomorrow? We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
How can we have peace without justice?
Plus Politics. It's not just another political conversation, it's about keeping you in the know. The relevant interviews, asking the tough questions to those that matter. Get the answers you need. Does it mean that the people who were injured, people who were shot at, those who were involved in that stampede are not going to get justice?
It is unfortunate, it is sad that we have a government of deaf and dumb.
Analysis from top experts.
The last election was not really an election.
We feel that Obasanjo has a very special place in his heart for hating Ijaw people.
I think it really boils down to two things. One, trust and accountability.
Plus Politics, every weeknight at 7 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on Plus TV Africa as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, then go beat you. Now 2,500 they pay.
It for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Hello and welcome to Space and Style, a property show designed to connect various stakeholders across the property value chain. We can also provide realistic solutions and deepen your knowledge about the interesting world of real estate. We shall showcase architectural design, interior design trends, lifestyle and real-time property news updates, and the right way to navigate through property development and investment. Join me every week on this channel as I take you through an exciting journey in the world of real estate.
Space and Style, 6:30 p.m. on Saturdays and 5:30 p.m. on Wednesdays.
Good morning, I am Khadijat Balogun, and this is the news brief on Plus TV Africa. The Lagos State government has commenced an enforcement of its ban on commercial motorcycles, also known as okada, in 6 local governments. The local government include Ikeja, Surulere, Etiosa, Lagos Mainland, Lagos Island, and Apapa. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu announced the ban on May 18th during a meeting with police chiefs in the state, saying it is total and indefinite. The government views the activities of okada as dangerous to road users. The State Police Commissioner Abiodun Alabi has described most okada riders as criminals who must be taken off the road. In January 2020, the government prescribed the operations of okada and kekes. We're now being joined by our correspondent, Paul George, who is currently monitoring the ban across town. Glad to have you, Paul. Okay, we'll get back to that very soon. Moving on, President Muhammadu Buhari has disclosed his criteria for the ideal presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress in the 2023 elections. The president, who made the disclosure while meeting with APC governors in Abuja, said that the party's choice of candidate must be someone who would give the Nigerian masses a sense of victory and confidence even before the elections. He assured that the consultation process will continue to ensure that all aspirants and stakeholders will be brought on board right through to the convention, stressing that it would also ensure that any anxiety occasioned by different factors are effectively brought under control and that the party emerges stronger. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has revealed that some People's Democratic Party governors ganged up with some interest groups to derail the quest of southern Nigeria to produce the next president of Nigeria. The Rivers State Governor, who made the explanation at a grand reception organized by Rivers people in Port Harcourt to welcome him back from Abuja after the PDP presidential primary, said it was the agreement of the governors of southern Nigeria that the presidency should come to the south, and he did not betray that agreement.
You are holding something in trust for your people, and you claim that this is what your people want. Then when it has come to that point to actualize it, you sell out. You think you are doing me? No. No way. Anybody who wants to, anybody in the political history of this country, you can count on us. We are not a pushover. We are not. But I don't know how their faces will be.
Governor Wike said it was wrong for the party to have allowed the governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Tambuwal, to speak for a second time after the time allotted to each of the aspirants to address the delegates.
Seeing how people can violate procedures, guidelines. Somebody has spoken. It is at that point he was speaking that he can say, I'm withdrawing. You don't call him back. I just said, look, this our party must not be destroyed. I would have left where I was sitting down. I said, no, this convention can go on, except you allow me to talk. And I would have flattened that, because it says the human being. I would have flattened it.
All Progressives Congress in the state, known as the Osun Progressive Top, has called for the cancellation of the State House of Assembly and National Assembly primary elections held in the state. One of the aspirants, Honorable Wasiu Adebayo, who stated this in Osogbo, the Osun State capital, during a press conference, said that the cancellation became imperative due to the delay in the announcement of the result 4 days after the conduct of the elections. In his reaction, the special advisor to the governor of the Osun State on political matters, Sunday Akere, debunks the allegations.
It is unheard of, even a shameful experience, that 4 and 3 days after the primary have been held, the governor and his collaborator in the party are able to declare winners in those contexts. Finally, the information at our disposal is that all result sheets are currently in the custody of Governor Gubernatorial, and the result sheets are being filled with the names of governor cronies who never won or participated in the primary election. We call on His Excellency, the national chairman of our party, Senator Abdullah Adamu, to use his good offices to correct the current act of impunity and rape of democracy being displayed by Governor Gubernatorial before it's too late.
Tomorrow morning, all the delegates will gather to ratify. We cannot announce the results of the direct primary thing unless it is ratified. And the process is the five delegates elected last week from each of the wards was to the ratification which they are going to do tomorrow. Before noon tomorrow, by the grace of God, all the 26 results for the House of Assembly, the 9 results for the House of Reps, and the 3 senatorial districts will be made public. People that are making these spurious allegations know that they don't have backers, they don't have supporters. They only rely on propaganda, and that is what has been their stock in trade.
4 aspirants in the just concluded APC governorship primaries in Benue have called on the governorship appeal panel sitting in Makurdi to cancel the exercise and order for a fresh election to save the party from losing an election in Benue State. Senator Barnabas Gemade, Mike Aundoka, and others alleged that no election was conducted as no party membership registered. Our correspondent in Makurdi, Francis Durr, filed in this report.
Senator Gemade, former Minister of Justice Mike Aundoka, and Professor Shija all submitted that the so-called results announced was fabricated and allocated to aspirants by the election panel and some members of the party executive committee in Benue. According to Senator Gemade, the conduct of the primaries outside the stipulated time of the National Working Committee has amounted to the violation of the Electoral Act as well as the INEC guidelines for 2023 elections.
This petition is against the happenings and the developments of that primary election held on that day in Benue State. Your panel, which is the appeal panel, hearing these petitions, should recommend the declaration that no primaries for the APC gubernatorial primary election was held in Benue State. That there is no evidence whatsoever.
Dr. Matthias Ibian, however, told the 3-man panel that the election was conducted, but he was shortchanged in parts of the state in favor of a particular aspirant and urged the appeal committee to declare him winner.
I defeated them there. When they see my vote was going very high, the party leadership now asked them not to take the result sheet to polling unit. And they ran away with it across the state. I have the videos here. So this is what I know. So my own is I win the election very clear. Therefore, the panel should look at what I have put and declare me as the winner of this election.
Speaking to aspirants, members of the party, and journalists, the presiding chairman of the appeal panel committee, Barrister Ozama Onyama, assured petitioners of justice after a critical look at their complaints. APC governorship primary has brought the Reverend Father Hyacinth Aliyah as the flag bearer of the party in Benue State in the 2023 election. Senator Gema.
The governorship candidate for the Adamawa State All Progressives Congress, APC, Aishatu Dahiru Hamad Binani, has disclosed that the ruling People's Democratic Party, PDP, has no stake in 2023. Binani, in a first interaction with newsmen after winning her party primaries in Yola, stated that the party will deploy winning strategies to ensure defeating the ruling party comprehensively in 2023.
Few first months, I will focus on the challenges, on the most challenges area, like the human capacity development and the productive sector of agriculture, and it's bearing in mind that Adamawa State is an agricultural based economy state. We have the mining and industrialization. All these are productive sector, which if it is being harnessed together, it will certainly boost the GDP of the state.
The gubernatorial hopeful said she will pay human capacity development, youth and women empowerment, educational development, social security, child protection, and development and mineral development a priority if she emerged governor of Adamawa State.
For the girl child education, that is one area that I would want to also give it a priority, because when you educate a woman, you educate the whole nation. And we all know the deplorable, how our standard of education has gone below expectation. So, and basic education being one of the core mandate of the state, we will give it preferential consideration.
So we'll take you back to the story on Okada ban, and we are now being joined by our correspondent, Paul George, who is monitoring the ban across town. Glad to have you, Paul.
Yeah, good morning, Khadija.
Good morning. Okay, Paul, so let's get down to the question as regards the Okada ban in Lagos State. So what can you tell us about the ban from where you are currently?
Okay, right now, but this morning, we went to Lekki. From Lekki, Admiralty Way, we turned. Then we moved down to 3rd Mainland Bridge. From 3rd Mainland Bridge to Anthony and Maryland. Right now, I'm at Bank Anthony Way. And we haven't seen any of the Okada riders, many of them. But when we got to Ikorodu Road, we found one or two Okada riders. Well, I don't know whether the security agencies who are saddled with the responsibility of ensuring that the Okada riders don't fly major roads are not around, because we haven't seen any of them. But of course, you know, you will still find one or two obstinately defiant of authority, the Okada men. So we found two on the road, but so far we haven't seen any of them apart from the two we found on Ikorodu Road. And right now we are about going to the main Ikeja to Ikeja bus stop, but still we are still on monitoring the situation.
Okay, so what is the general feeling from riders and passengers that you've encountered so far?
I can hear you.
What is the general feelings from the riders and the passengers that you've encountered so far?
Well, no general feelings, because we were not able to track them down, because they were on the road moving. So there's no how we would have seen them, talk to them. But you know, of course we found some dispatch riders moving on the road freely. Nobody's disturbing them.
All right, George. Thank you so very much. We'll get back to you later in the day. Thank you it's nice to have you.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on, as the 2023 general elections draw near, Nigerians have been speaking on the role of the justice system before, during, and after the polls, and that's on Street Views. Take a listen.
the Electoral Act once passed becomes the law. And the duty of the court is to interpret the law the way it is, irrespective of who the interpretation will go against or not. Now, coming to 2023 election, you know, before any election, the judiciary has a duty to put in election petition in place based on the Electoral Act. And when that is in place, the judiciary will be ready to take any case because the election petition will have been in place because it's special courts.
The judiciary really doesn't have any preparation to make with respect to election. The judiciary is supposed to be a continuous process, and the only role of the judiciary is to interpret laws. So whatever laws become current or becomes extant, that is what the judiciary will do. The judiciary doesn't have to have a new preparation. They're supposed to be constant at every time. So the judiciary is good to go with respect to the 2023 elections.
The judiciary this time around should look beyond the technical justice and do substantial justice. You know, because it's on record that there was a time when a matter was called at the Supreme Court, and then the Supreme Court in its wisdom left number 1 and went for number 4. It would be against common sense to leave the person that scored second highest vote, the third highest vote, to go and pick the 4th highest vote. So it's what we call technical justice. So we're hoping and trusting that the judiciary this time around would look at substantial justice to ensure that politicians don't use the courtroom and the instruments of the law to achieve a selfish gain.
The only thing judiciary ought to do at this stage is to be very, very careful, because the politicians are at their game now. This is the time for frivolous application. This is the time for expert application. They'll come through the back to get any relief to stop the election or to stop the process. So the judiciary should be watchful to shun all expert applications. What the judiciary can do, they can, what they call accelerated hearing. You know, they can accelerate hearing, but let the other party be aware.
And in other parts of Africa, the powerful Tunisian Trade Union Center, UGTT, has announced a nationwide public sector strike on June 16th to protest against soaring inflation and prevent the privatization of major state-owned companies. The announcement comes at a time when the country is wallowing in a deep economic crisis and the government is counting on the support of the General Union of Tunisian Workers, UGTT, for the reform program it has submitted to the International Monetary Fund, IMF, in the hope of obtaining new credit. In its statement, the union accused President Kais Saied of undermining the principles of negotiation and reneging on the previous agreement, while the country is facing crazy and continuous price rises, with inflation at 7.5% in April. And outside Africa, Australia's new federal ministry has been sworn into office, with Prime Minister Anthony Albanese appointing a record number of women to a diverse cabinet team that includes religious minorities and indigenous Australians. A total of 10 women were included in Albany's 23-member cabinet, surpassing the 7 in the previous Liberal National Coalition government led by Scott Morrison. Industry Minister Ed Ozick and Youth Minister Anne Halai became Australia's first Muslim federal ministers at a ceremony in the national capital, Canberra, while Linda Burney, wearing a kangaroo skin cloak, became the first Aboriginal woman to hold the Indigenous Australians Ministry. And in business, a study by Boston Consulting Group, a global management consulting firm, has shown that Nigeria and 44 other countries around the world are severely exposed to the Ukraine war-induced food crisis. BCG, in a report titled "The War in Ukraine and the Rush to Feed the World," said it explored in detail the multiple direct and indirect impacts of the turmoil in Ukraine on global food systems. The report, co-authored with Food Systems for the Future, also provided 30 near and medium-term solutions to help respond to the crisis and improve the resilience of global food systems. It said the affected countries, which were concentrated in Africa, South Asia, and Latin America, were hotspots around the world as they endured some of the worst effects of the crisis. And in entertainment news, the 53rd edition of Sao Paulo Fashion Week has returned to the runway, showcasing the latest trends in Brazilian flair. This year's opening show in Latin America's biggest fashion events featured the brand Alagacon, launched by Brazilian designer Alexander Hachovic, showcasing its newest trends on Sao Paulo's runway. Sao Paulo Fashion Week creative director Paulo Borges said this year's edition seeks to communicate people into a transition into the future, having the individual in the center of all ongoing creative, economic, and social circles in contemporary times. And in sports, talks of an end to Rafael Nadal's reign proved premature once again as the clay court king stayed on court for a record-extending men's 22nd Grand Slam title by beating arch-rival Novak Djokovic 6-2, 4-6, 6-2, 7-6 in a vintage French Open quarter-final clash on Tuesday. The 13-time Roland Garros champion, beaten by the world number one in the semi-finals last year, arrived in Paris on the back of 2 injuries that had hampered his preparations, having already survived a 5-set thriller against Felix Auger-Aliassime in the previous round. The Spaniard, who has only lost 3 times at the French Open since his first campaign in 2005, knows every inch of the immense court Philippe Chatra and Djokovic paid for the reminder.
Well, I told you that in Rome that I'm going to have my doctor here with me, that having the doctor here, you can do things that helps, no? So it's not the moment to talk about that. I said that we're going to talk about that after the tournament, when my tournament finish. But yeah, I am putting everything that I have to try to play this tournament with the best conditions possible now. I don't know what can happen after, honestly, but here.
And that's the news brief. For more stories, please follow us on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. I am Khadijat Balogun. Many thanks for watching.